Okay, so this long time ago, I think last month, but I decided let me do a video on that, and since you know the few videos I did, was it yesterday? I think I've done about 3 videos or so. Mostly on this 406, 508, and the rest. Okay, so it's about Peugeot 406 D9 versus Peugeot 508, the W2 model, and the ones with the petrol engine. So we are going to look at their strengths, the strength of both vehicles. Where each of them has an edge on the other. It's not about which one is better, but this is just to compare. Okay, this one um, has an edge or better than this one on this aspect. So that's what this comparison is all about. So number one, older. Yes, Peugeot 406 is older than the Peugeot 508 W2. The 406 production in Europe ended in 2004, though continued in a few other countries. So, but 508 is still ongoing. Okay, the W2 stopped sometime in 2014. In Well, yeah, 2014. No, the W2 stopped 2017 or thereabouts. The W2 508. So yeah, the 508 is newer, which brings us to number two. Why the 406 is older. So number three, which of them is heavier? Of course, the Peugeot 508. The Peugeot 406, both of them are saloon vehicles, but the 406 is a very light vehicle. Now, what I mean light, I'm not saying it's so light that it is unsafe to drive. No, but I'm saying compared to 508, the 406 is lighter, while 508 is heavier. Now, the heaviness of the 508 doesn't really affect it in terms of performance. So it was designed to uh, even with the extra weight, to still perform and still be faster, and even the fuel consumption much better. Okay, we'll come to that. My point is an advantage that the 508 has on the 406, because even with that heavier weight, it still didn't make it less performance vehicle. Okay, now number four, superior performance suspension. The 508 wins here. The 508 has an edge on Peugeot 406 in terms of suspension. The 406 suspension is not bad. In fact, when you compare it to most of the Asian vehicles, you could even call a Peugeot 406 is a performance suspension. I'm talking about the equivalent of Peugeot 406. When you compare it to Asian vehicles of the same year, you know that 406 you can look at it like a performance suspension. So but when it comes to generally, yeah, it wasn't specifically designed as a performance system. But in terms of handling, yeah, it's very, very good. Very good. In fact, the French cars are known for good suspension, for good road handling. So it still has that French uh, test design. So, but the 508 has a more performance. It's more perform. Was designed for performance. I'm not saying comparing it with what's it called, sports cars. I don't know. Just saying, it's meant to handle much better than for the 406. Okay, number five, more modern or stylish, of course. The Peugeot 508 is newer. The W2, it has more um, gadgets. It has newer look. Looks more modern, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. More fuel efficient. Yeah, the Peugeot 508 consumes less than Peugeot 406. Their petrol engine. Remember, this comparison is on the petrol engines in both vehicles. So 508 consume less. The 508, they are I think the maximum size of the engine is 1.6. They are 1.6, especially that W2. So for the petrol engine, so they are 1.6. So yeah, even though they are also okay, not all, but quite a number of them are forced in induction, turbocharged. That's what I'm saying. So they consume less fuel than Peugeot 406, irrespective of the engine model, as long as petrol, whether it's 1.8, 2.0, 2.2, or 3.0 in Peugeot 406, all 508 consume less than any of those engines. Okay, so moving on. Number six. Which one is more rugged or tougher? Of course, Peugeot 406 is tougher, it's more rugged. In this case, Peugeot 406, you can liken it to Peugeot 505 or Peugeot 504. Of course, those other 504 and 505 are more rugged or tougher than the 406. But what I'm saying is, if you are looking at, okay, which of these two cars, 508 or 406, that you can use very roughly and the car will still stand without having much um impact of those rough use on the vehicle. Yeah, it's the 406 will win. It's a very rugged vehicle, well packaged. I mean, you have to be that bad in abusing cars to make the 406, look so haggard. Yes, you really have to be that type of person that will have used that vehicle badly. That's what I'm saying. Some people really don't give a rat's about the how they, so if they see any kind of bottle, they maintain the same high speed and jump it even when they are on the street. So in that case, yeah, after a while you start feeling that effect or seeing it on the Peugeot 406 better. Other than that, it's a very rugged vehicle that can handle any kind of harsh use compared to Peugeot 508. But Peugeot 508 is a little bit is softer, more fragile compared to 406. So you don't push it, don't use it that harshly. You could handle some. It's better than Peugeot 508 is better in terms of ruggedness than to other Peugeot car, but not to 406. That's the point. Okay, so moving on. Number eight, more durable AC or trouble free air conditioning system. Of course, Peugeot 406 wins here. No, Peugeot 406 AC is top notch, especially that D9. The design, I don't know how they did it. I mean, you could use the AC can last you forever. Of course, even if there's an estimate, maybe you could get a leakage and you replace or fix the seal or the seal where the AC, the leak the gas is leaking from, and it comes back. I mean, the system is so good, and then the chilling effect. I mean, for the 406, all you need to do is just a small adjustment on the blower speed. You don't even need to increase it, just a small thing, maybe like 2 step or something. Let's assume it has up to 7 step for the AC. The higher the step, the faster the air comes in. or the higher volume of air that comes in. So, but for the air, for the 406, all you need is just maybe like two. That's all. As in, you feel within minutes, you start feeling very cold. So that's how good, and it's very, very durable. Very, very durable. Their AC systems, they hardly have issues. But compared to the 508, no, 508 AC is not there at all. As in, it just for one issue to the other. You see, you get to in other words, I would say you can actually count 508 users that have not had AC issue or have not suffered AC issue. You know, you change this one tomorrow, you change compressor, you face again, you change this. I mean, it's, there is a weakness on it. You know, it can be avoided, or maybe it's not everybody, but it's an issue. And the 508, their AC is not as good as that, or durable or trouble free as the 406. So now which one is quicker? Of course, but the 406 is quicker. It's not just because it's lighter. Maybe it contributes in terms of the weight, but I'm looking at the also the way we was both vehicles were designed. The 406 were designed to actually be used for sports, sort of, yeah. Even though, like I said, the suspension is not necessarily a performance suspension, even though it serves that purpose somehow, you know. In terms of French suspension, yeah, you can still regard this as very good road handling car. So it was designed for sports as well, but 508, no, 508 wasn't designed for sports. It wasn't. Just meant for family sedan vehicle. You know, you don't need to speed it. Just executive. You just go to office, come back, can take your family, go there. You know, it's just a family vehicle. Unlike for us, it's also a family, but like I said, there are some that were also meant for spouse that you can actually push it and have some fun. So 508, not that. It has some power, but um, power wasn't really meant for you to push that hard. You know, so it's not. That's why the 406 is quicker. I'll still come to what makes it quicker. Um, Edgeless look. No, the 406 has it. You know, the W2508 has even started showing sign of age in terms of the look. You know, when you compare it to newer cars or modern cars, it has showing sign of age. Doesn't uh, you know, it doesn't look it doesn't appeal anymore as it was when it came out first. So the look has started aging. When you look at it, it looks dated vehicle compared to Peugeot 406. But 406, especially that D9, I don't know how they designed that vehicle. That once you see a very clean looking one, as in it still stands out. Even when you park it beside a brand new, newly launched vehicle, it still looks as in you just look like, as in the design is just top notch. So it's not a car that is going to age or look dated. I'm talking at least the exterior. I'm not talking about, because when you tell, that's what I mean, ageless look. You know, the exterior was well designed, packaged, that when you look at it, I mean, next time, 20 years, it still looks stand out, looks modern. So that's the thing. Some cars, you may look new when it comes out. Over time, you just look old. You know, it won't really. Your point is, you won't look at it. You won't turn your head two times if the car passes you, no matter how new it looks. That's my point. So for the 406 wins in this regard. Gadget, of course, Peugeot 508, that's number 11. The Peugeot 508 has more gadgets, it's newer, so What I mean by gadget, I'm talking about the functions, the radio, the functions it comes with, the Bluetooth, this and that. You know what I mean. When you enter inside a vehicle, you look at so many things from the dashboard to this and that, how the windows operate, this and that. You know. So yeah, the 508 has more gadgets, so it wins in this area. Um, Number 12, lesser engine electrical components or sensors. No, Peugeot 504 wins here. I know some people might wondering, are you saying a lesser when a vehicle has lesser sensors for the engine? Is it a positive or is it an advantage to the one that has more sensors? Yeah, it's very big advantage. Trust me. Maybe if you're asking that question, it means you're not actually a technical person, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it shows you really don't know. Because I understand that vehicle users, the normal vehicle user just there's an issue, they take it to a repair shop, the issue is sorted out, so they don't really know much or care to actually know some of these things that least cause some of those issues. If you are very technical, you understand that the more sensors, the more electrical things you apply, you apply to work with something, the more headache it brings, the more complex the system becomes as over time as issues start coming up. I mean, there are some sensors that, there are issues that when sensor fails, sometimes it affects another, because of the way both of the system probably was designed, that this must work with this. So if this one fails, if you don't treat it immediately, it eventually ended up affecting the other. Or sometimes there are the sensors that they may do it in such a way that about 5 sensors or five this thing will be in a unit. So if one fails, if one sensor in a unit or electrical component in that unit fails, instead of changing only that one, you may end up changing the entire unit. Just like, for example, BSM, for those who understand what I mean. For the D9, early D9, of course, you don't have all those issues with the BSM. You only have to fuse to deal with. But for the D9, 508 BSM, I mean, do I even need to go there? It's going to take another 1 hour trying to describe what will happen when any relay inside of it fails or something. So that's what I mean. So the most, and then in terms of electrical components and concerning the engine, I mean, they are basically turbocharged engines, the ones in the 508. So they have to add more electrical components to be able to work with the turbocharger to make the engine to have more power than the engine itself. know, because like I said, they are very small engine, 1.6, so they have to put so many things to be able to boost or help the turbocharger to boost that power and monitor the what's it called, also reduce the emissions and be less it won't pollute as much as the earlier ones. All those things. So it adds to the issue. I mean, those of us who are into technical do all these repairs, trust me, you better understand. I mean, you may see one sense, you may see a fault on one issue, you may end up replacing up to 3 parts before you get to that fault will go away. So that's how complex the 508 is when it comes to electrical components that work on with the engine compared to the same EFI engines in Peugeot 406. So yeah, Peugeot 406 wins here. So the lesser the electrical components, the better. Okay, number 13, sweeter engine notes and song. Yeah, this is where 406 also wins compared to the 508. The engine sound, the music that the engines produce in 406 Of course, not all of them, but I'm just saying the some. I don't want to mention the names. Those who know already know what I'm saying. So some of the engine Peugeot, the petrol ones, the music they produce as the RPM increases is so good compared to these turbocharged engines. Even the VTI, I know the W2508 also has a VTI engine, non-turbocharged engine as well. So the sounds not so sweet to listen to. The naturally aspirated, where I'm coming, naturally aspirated engines, they are more interesting to listen to, the sound they produce, because that's why I call them natural. The other one, most times, like if it's a supercharged engine, the whining that the supercharger produce can be uncomfortable, sort of, unless you are into performance, so you may not mind. But so it's likewise, turbocharger too produce some kind of whining noise. If you're observant, you will hear it, especially if you accelerate hard, and while the car is deaccelerated, you hear the turbocharger whining. But the thing is, the engine doesn't sound melodious, like, especially when you compare it to the V6 in the Velocis. So that's the thing. So yeah, the 406 engines, they are sweeter to listen to. I mean, most times you drive some of the ones that have those sweeter engine songs, you even enjoy listening to the engine while driving than even operating the gadgets there. I mean, they are very sweet to listen to, unless you are not really into all those stuff. Okay. Cheaper ownership or cost of maintenance. Which of them is cheaper to maintain? Of course, Peugeot 406 is much cheaper. If not for anything, the mechanicals. The 508, the electrical was improved. Quite a lot of things were improved, but the electrical, the mechanical, the 406 has an edge, and specifically the engine, not just the transmission. Okay, we talk about the automatic. Yeah, the 508. Most of them. Remember, there are some 508 W2508 that have AMCs as well. The AMCs you find in like 3407 and the rest. So I'm talking about the 508 with the 86. Well, the petrol ones, they just say they are the ones that have that 86. So, and there are also some 508 that have this petrol ones that have this what's it called? Auto manual gearbox. That annoying gear, that manual gearbox that has an actuator that controls the selection. I always tell people, run for your dear life on that transmission. Yeah, it's a manual gearbox, but then the headache is not much different from the automatic. The headache that comes with it. So stay away from. In fact, it may not. If automatic may even be better for you, the full automatic. So yeah, basically that. So the maintenance cost of fuels is much better in terms of the mechanical. The cost of maintaining the mechanical part, the engine specifically. For the W2508, they are in terms of repair cost, can be quite annoying. Trust me, it can be quite annoying. However, what I usually do is the clients of mine that I know that bought Peugeot vehicle, not just W2508, other Peugeot vehicles with this engine, I usually advise and recommend what they need to do. I mean, those ones that have this engine in this same 508 that we are comparing with the 406, I advise them, so these are the issues this engine do have. So the best thing to do is apply preventative maintenance by, if you can, buy all these parts, whether they appear to be working well before the purchase, get everything and replace them. which will cost much compared to the preventative maintenance you do on Peugeot 406 while acquiring them, on the same engine, on same, engine on 406 and engine on 407, the 508, no, the engine on 406 and the petrol engine in W2508, the preventative maintenance repairs you do on the 508 when you buy this thing is much, much higher compared to the one you do on the 406 petrol engine. So yeah, some people might not stay, but I always advise, see, do these things you need to do if you don't want to experience all these issues that experience higher cost of running the vehicle as time goes on. You do it once, spend it, yeah, you may feel it that time, but you'll be able to last you for a very long time before the need to start replacing them again. Don't wait for them to fail. That's my point. So yeah, the maintenance cost of 406 is much lower. Now number 15, expected future classic. Yes, of course, but the 406. It's not yet classified as a Peugeot classic car. I think the last car Peugeot has officially announced as classic is 505. Maybe they've added. I don't remember. I'll check. Maybe in future I'll check. But I know the last time I checked, the 505 was included as their official classic vehicle. So I know eventually 406, maybe they've done it or maybe not. 406 is going to be, the car is just so ageless. I mean, like I said in my previous video, the 406 was more like the next 504 and the 505 that was produced by Peugeot. Of course, there was another car, other cars that were produced after 505, like we have 405, 605, but no, in terms of ruggedness and comparing them to 504 or 505, they are not the same at all. So 406 was like the next car that you can compare with those 505 and this thing, So yeah, it's going to be expected to be the next future classic. All right, so moving on. Number 16, more comfy. Which of them is more comfy in terms of which one is more comfortable inside? That's what I'm saying, when you're sitting inside. Yeah, the 508 wins here, especially the front seat. Especially the front seat. Yeah, 508 is more comfortable to sit on. I also like cars that you sit low when you enter. So the 508 has that advantage. It doesn't sit that high. It's not like you sit slow without, the coupe usually feel when you sit inside the coupe. So, but at least it's much better compared to the 406. So yeah, 508 has a more comfortable seat. The leg room is higher. You can stretch your leg more. I know 508 just terms of comfortability. Yeah, 508 wins. More durable automatic transmission, of course. The 508 automatic transmission in force is no, the 508 wins by high margin in terms of durability of those automatic transmission. I didn't want to point out the manual because, well, I didn't, to be honest, I've not had a chance to use manual 508 drive and check, compare. So but I don't point because Peugeot, their manual transmission are just that good. So it's like you hardly even, probably may not be difficult. Yeah, maybe the companies that work with the manual transmission, maybe you could just say, okay, this one has like the clutches, which one lasts longer, this and that. Yeah, but the gearboxes, I don't think I have anything to say there. Their manual gearboxes are more like indestructible. Yeah, they do once in a while come across one that have faults, that are fails, but once by when you do, generally no, they are just all they need is oil to be running in them. They will last for good as long as it's a good oil. So they usually last like more as in they exceed the lifespan of the vehicle. Let me just put it the car. If the car can last you 1 million kilometers and beyond, the manual gearbox will probably exceed that. Unless you are not that good with clutch engagement, then you'll be replacing your clutches every now and then. Um, More durable and trouble-free engines. I think I've talked about this. Okay, maybe I mentioned it in the other one in terms of maintenance. I talked about the cost of maintaining both engines, the engines in both vehicles. So in terms of which one is less that give which of the engines in these vehicles that give less headache, I would say Peugeot is compared to the engines in the W2508, both the VTR and the THP petrol engines. No, the 406 has a big edge on the 508. The 508 they are troublesome, but like I mentioned, you can actually apply preventative maintenance to prevent some of those things from happening in your experience, or at least avoid them in your ownership, experiencing them. So that's the best way to approach those things. Then I also mentioned there are some else or you too that you uh likely not going to experience those things. So there are years that are that are pronounced and some that you have to. So those are the things I reserve for my clients to discuss with them. You know. So yeah, the 5406 is their engines are ones you can, especially those D9, even the DSF. So generally 406 engines, all you need is put look for anywhere you go, take it and bring it back. Just once in a while things may break down, but I'm saying when you compare it with the other, I mean, compared, for example, if I use Mars as to give example, it take months. I'm not talking about weeks. It take months to even have a need to plug a scanner in my own portfolio system. It's just for you to understand what I'm even saying. Months. Sometimes it may even be a year. I may not even ever have a need. Because for me the need to come out means the car will be showing a symptom for me to scan to know what. But there won't even be that need. That's what I'm saying. The car, the no, 406 is just something else. So compared to the W2508, uh, trust me. I mean, sometimes I actually do have empathy for the users, considering the issues most of them face. But like I said, I always tell my clients, see, do this I will list out everything. If you are buying this, I will list out everything you need to do. If you can, do it once. Take your eyes off for another thousands or years before maybe one or two of them may start giving up. By that time, you may decide to change it, or you replace them maybe once again and go back to having fun and enjoying the car for us for another years of trouble-free ownership. So now, number 19, superior brakes or brakes system that are better. The 508 wins here. 508 has superior brakes. Yeah, in terms of, I mean, even the pedal feel, you can't compare it to the 406. 406 has the pedal is a little bit stronger. Not it's soft, but compared to the 508, it's not very the 406. It has performance brake, it has. Not saying it doesn't have, but compared to the 508, 508 is much better. It's much better. starts much weaker. Yeah, so more powerful in terms of the HP and the torque. I'm talking about engine torque and the HP, of course. Yeah, the 508 has 406 has more power, more powerful engine that has more power, more horsepower and more engine torque. I mean, 508 W2 508. I think the maximum power is what is it again? 160, 165 PS or 163 HP horsepower, and the engine torque a little bit. I know it's either 235 or thereabouts. That's the maximum engine torque in the Peugeot 508 W2 petrol engine. I think 235 or thereabouts. I'm not so sure, so don't quote me, but I know it's around that figure or something like that. But I know for the HP for sure, it's about 163 or thereabouts. That's maximum, which is almost like same power and EW12J4 engine in 406. The only thing that the THP now has more torque than the EW12, but the power, especially the one of what's it called, the 3FY, the 3FY EW12, which you find in Peugeot 407 and some other Peugeot cars. Those ones is 160 something as well, 170 PS, maybe 160. Is this 67, 65 or thereabout HP? Then the torque is about 212 or 220 torque also. So that's where the only place where the 508 W2 petrol engine wins from the EW12 is the engine torque. But in terms of HP, they are basically the same. Though the 508 406 one maybe like 150 something HP for the EW12, 158 or thereabouts. Not so sure. So, but where the 406 now has that edge is the V6 engine that 406 possess. It exceeds that of 508 by far. So both the torque and the torque the V6 engine in 406, the torque is about 285 compared to the 508 that's about 230, or I don't know, I can't really remember, but I know it's much lower to the one on the V6. So, and in terms of, I drive all those cars, the 508, I've even the one with the 156 horsepower, 163, no, they are not as quick as the 406 V6, so, yeah. So 406 has more power. Yeah. So like I said, 406 is more designed for sports or fun. 406 to me is more of a fun car compared to the 508 W2. So if you are looking for a fun car, a weekend car to trash about or something, yeah, consider a 406. More fun to drive, yeah, 406, yeah, it's more fun. Yeah, it's more fun. Depend. I don't know what you mean. Some people they consider fun to other things. I don't know, but in terms of having fun, power comes into it. So the W2 has power too. The turbocharger helps the torque, the engine torque. If not like big push of the torque to come in at low RPM, as lower as 2000 or thereabout, it kicks in and pull the car very quickly, but as you keep going, you just realize it's not as quick as it's everybody has their own definition of fun, but first it's more fun, lighter, push it around, swerve it around, and you respond much quicker 508 a little bit bigger, so you gotta know how you throw it about. So, and 406, because the suspension is good, normal, not necessarily a performance suspension. So it will help you to actually, one thing about front drive is it shouldn't be a perfect drive. When it's perfect, it becomes boring. So front drive, it means, as you're driving, you realize, oh, you made a small mistake here, or, oh, let me try this thing. You try it, and you realize you'll be able to learn something in that process, perfecting your driving skill, compared to the one that the vehicle will allow you to apply your driving skill. It does everything, so it's as if it's just like somebody playing a video game. You just press the accelerator. Maybe like you do the one you're using the automatic mode on your, what's it called, playing the game, and you just moving doing it himself. So all you do is just return it to steering. So that's what um this full suspension does for you. It allows you to actually learn, perfect your driving skill while you're having that fun. The car will behave somehow. As a way the tail will pull, you have to find a way to bring it back to straight line. No, 406 is a fun car. Unlike the ones that, no matter what you do, you always want to keep you on that straight line, and which is for safety. It's not a bad thing, but most time it takes away the fun. It won't really allow you to learn, or just perfect your driving skill. Maybe just leave it there. Dependability. Which one is more dependable? Of course, first is this car you could start and get to where you want and come back the next day or the same day. We won't bother. Not saying once in a while you may experience an issue on the road, a breakdown, but generally it's just like 504. Just keep going. Just keep going. you know. And even in town, in the city, it's such a well packaged, thought well vehicle. So, these are the things I can remember. So from here, I could see that 508 has some advantages over 406, while 406 also has some advantages. So you can't really say no, this one is much better than the other. No, one has positive, or has its negative. So now it depends. Okay, if you want to choose which one will serve you more, in terms of what you need it for. So everybody have their own needs. So when it comes to cars, maybe your need is something newer, something with more gadgets, something that is softer, something that is not, why some will say, hey, they want a car that will be so very practical to their business or nature of their work. It doesn't, irrespective of maybe it has lesser gadget or something. You need something that, see, maybe use it for commercial, that will be going anywhere part of the country it wants. It will take you, bring it back with less maintenance cost. So in that case, yeah, there's one that will serve you on that. So it all depends on what you want. You could also want one that will serve more than one purpose. Serve that long distance purpose, and also serve the city drive purpose. So, all right. So I hope this makes sense, and yeah, that's all I have.